Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames and we're back with another banging video. In this video, we're gonna talk about Cassie is now being hunted because I believe these male escorts, they're getting hungry, they're getting older, so their demand is lowering. And Cassie Ventura apparently is now their primary target because since the Sean Diddy Combs verdict, I believe what many of these men have now realized is that women are not protected because Diddy was only found guilty under the Mann Act, So with the involvement of Diddy trafficking, the male escorts for freak off, they realized that when it came to Cassie being sex trafficked, even though there was clear evidence that she was literally sex trafficked, because this woman, we saw a clip of her running from a freak off, and what did he do? Dragged her back into the hotel. He used hands and feet on her after she was trying to, escape a freak off. Irrespective of that overwhelming evidence, a jury was like, a woman's opinion, a woman saying no does not count. So if you notice, women have no rights to say no. And men are proving that more and more every day. You're a woman. How dare you say no? And now, because of the verdict in that lawsuit, in that trial, I believe this is why we now have a male escort coming after Cassie. Now, not only is he coming after Cassie Ventura, he's also coming after Sean Diddy Combs, because I never see these coming out in the trial, but this gentleman, his name was brought up a few times. He wasn't a witness, and for him to be, for him to have such heavy claims and was not included as a witness, it's very questionable. And as such, I want to call his claims BS unless what he's saying came out during trial and I've missed it and you guys have missed it. And it cannot be the case where I've missed it and you guys have missed it. And if I've missed it, I know you guys wouldn't have missed it. Let's talk about it, because there's this guy, by the name of Howard. He's coming forward and he's suing Cassie and Diddy. Here's what he's saying, right? He's a male escort. He's suing Diddy and Cassie because he's saying that they've used them from 2009 to 2016 to satisfy their sex greed. They use them as entertainment to satisfy their sexual fetishes and personal ambitions. But isn't that your job? How are you going to sue someone for your job, No, not only that, he's saying that Cassie drugged him, manipulated him. Diddy and Cassie drugged him, manipulated him, traumatized him, and he said that he impregnated Cassie. Cassie had an abortion without consenting him. Like, how does he think he's gonna win this lawsuit and get anything from Cassie, knowing that we've seen evidence, and we're not just talking about allegations. There's evidence of Diddy telling Cassie what to do, how to do it, when to do it. He thinks that Cassie had a say in her life, much less to be communicating with him. And also, when it came out in the trial as to how these freak-offs are organized, in my opinion, Diddy kept them on a professional level, so to speak. as it relates to the male escorts. They always are given the heads up of what they're expected to do, and they're always given the heads up of how much they are expected to be paid. And my question to this person is, if you're a male escort and you have grown tired of doing your job, why didn't you quit? Because it's not as though you were a Cassie Ventura. You had your autonomy to make your decision. Diddy didn't force you into anything, because I'm not seeing any testimonies of any male escort indicating that they were bullied, they were coerced, they were drugged by Diddy. I haven't seen that in any of the testimonies. If I'm wrong, I digress. I've been following the case. I've been following Inner City report. And even when this report came out, I was looking back through a lot of the discussion threads, and I'm not seeing that. So guys, if I've missed something, I would like you guys to back me up on this, because I understand that greed is real, but when the greed does not make sense, it is actually laughable. Now, is it possible that he contracted an STD? Yes, highly possible based on everything that took place in that environment. But let's get into this report so that you guys have some information on exactly what this so-called male escort is saying. Now, Clayton Howard, one of the male escorts, prosecutor says Diddy hired is dragging Diddy and Cassie to court, and he says Cassie gave him a sexually transmitted disease and got an abortion after he got her pregnant. Howard, who says he went by Dave when he was hired for freak-offs with Diddy and Cassie, makes the salacious claims in a new lawsuit obtained by, and as you know, who's under everyone's bed and in everyone's closet? Yes, that media outlet. Now, the escort claims he contracted an STD from having sex with Cassie, and he says he impregnated her and she aborted the pregnancy without telling him, and he alleges she then continued having unprotected sex with him. If Cassie had to do an abortion, she had no choice. Just as how she was forced to get a breast implant, Diddy didn't like it, and she had to remove it. Man, I tell you, greed. Now they're saying Howard is one of 7 male escorts federal prosecutors in Diddy's criminal case says were transported across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. He claims he was hired for freak-offs with Diddy and Cassie starting in 2009, and he says for more than 5 years they trafficked him for the purpose of commercial sex, using him as entertainment to satisfy their sexual fetishes and personal ambitions. Howard claims Diddy and Cassie drugged, manipulated, and traumatized him while they themselves engaged in a toxic, domestically abusive relationship that often became violent. He says Cassie manipulated him into taking ecstasy and having unprotected sex, and he says she would order him to masturbate for hours on end, resulting in tears, skin peeling, and scabbing to his penis. Howard claims his dealing with Diddy and Cassie left him with physical and psychological injuries, lost wages and benefits, medical expenses, pain, suffering, emotional distress, and mental anguish, plus loss of enjoyment of life. He was not called as a witness, but was mentioned several times during testimony in Diddy's trial. A federal agent testified Clayton stayed at the Four Seasons and flight from New York City to LA, all paid by Diddy. Diddy was acquitted, as you guys know, on sex trafficking, but was found guilty of transporting escorts across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. He was denied bail and remains in custody, as we all know. They reached out to Diddy and Cassie's legal team as per usual, but no response. I hope that this guy, this is giving Tony Busby lawsuit. I'm not sure who's the attorney who filed this lawsuit. I'm not seeing any information, but this is given Tony Busby type lawsuit. Now, I hope this gentleman is taking into consideration that Cassie's attorney is Douglas Wigdor, and that's not an attorney that you want to play with. That's an attorney that's about morals, values, and not just about money. That's a no-nonsense attorney. If you're going to sue Cassie, you're going to have to make sense because Douglas Wigdor does not play about his client. And he better wins this lawsuit for the sake and whatever he has going on in his life. If he owns a bike and he loses this lawsuit, Douglas Victor is coming for that bike, so he better be able to prove what he's saying, at least 50% of it. Now, anyone can make up anything and file a lawsuit. It just has to be plausible. And my common sense is telling me that this is not making any sense. It's giving doo-doo hogwash because you got yourself into a line of work that you know what your work entailed, and you know that if you're being given a command that you're not comfortable with, then that's the time you leave. I've never heard a male escort during any of the testimony said they felt threatened by Diddy, but the females are always the ones threatened, told what to do. The females are always the one who makes the negotiation, and it is normally clearly communicated to the male escorts what is clearly expected of them, and they're always being told if there's anything they're not comfortable with, they should walk away, while the females were never ever given this opportunity. So this is ridiculous in my opinion, but I'm going to keep track of this lawsuit because, it seems as though men, they have more rights than women, and they can always make up stories when it comes to women, and they will be given attention more than a woman's claims. So let's see how this one plays out. And you bet your ass this is an intriguing one, and as such, I'm going to ensure that I follow it and I follow to the T. But I want to hear from you guys because this is a very interesting one, but I'm not buying it. I don't believe him for a second. I do believe that he could have contracted an STD. I do believe that he could have impregnated Cassie, but I mean, how would he know about that? That is not something that they would have revealed to him, so it would be concerning, or unless that came out during trial, and we know that Cassie was a sex traffic victim. She had no say, no autonomy over her body, not even what she wears, how she dresses it, or anything of that nature. So I can't wait to see Cassie's legal team response. But all I have to tell this gentleman is Cassie's attorney is not the one, neither is he the two to be messed with. I hope I get an attorney like that sometime soon. But anywho, I want to hear from you guys. What's your take on this? Do you see this going anywhere, or did anything like this came out during the trial that he's claiming? Leave a comment below. While you're at it, do all you need to do on this video to support your girl. Peace.